on this Monday night.
I was just coming up the street to see my neighbors, and I didn't realize my house gone too.
The unrelenting fires consuming and killing in California. With so many still missing, the worst may be ahead. Why there's no longer a fire season. Now it's a full-time threat.
And his superpower, giving comic book heroes humanity.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference.
From Spider-Man to Black Panther and the Incredible Hulk, how Stan Lee inspired generations.
And will Calgary get to own the podium?
Are you ready, Calgary?
On the eve of a public vote on whether Calgary should host the Olympics, we go in depth to ask, are the games worth the cost? This is The Night Show.
Fans around the world are mourning the death of Stan Lee tonight. He helped create a universe filled with super-powered heroes that weren't always so super. They had very human flaws readers could relate to. They were still heroes, though, and since they've earned more than $17 billion at the global box office. But it all started on newsprint. Lee's creations could perform amazing feats, yet still feel the pangs of teenage loneliness, or bicker like a real family, or be the targets of public hatred simply for who they were. Today's flood of tributes speak to all of that. Seth Rogen tweeted, "Thank you, Stan Lee, for making people who feel different realize they are special." Today, an ambulance was called to his Hollywood home, and he died in hospital. His daughter, JC, told Reuters he loved his life and he loved what he did for a living. The CBC's Salima Shivji shows us just how true that was.
Greetings, true believers. I'm Stan Lee.
He was the king of comics, the charismatic man behind the Marvel Universe. Stan Lee, always the showman, and a fan favorite.
Terrific. Nice meeting you. So long.
The face of Marvel for so many decades. Stan Lee grew up in New York City during the Depression. With his dad out of work, Lee started his career as a teenager, not yet 17 when he got a gopher job at Timely Comics, which would later morph into Marvel Comics.
When I was at Marvel, our whole place was about this big.
Where to start with the hundreds of characters he helped to create. The Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, the X-Men, and Spider-Man. Comic book heroes turned pop culture icons.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference.
All superheroes with real human flaws.
We've tried to humanize them. We've tried to say, suppose somebody could have superhero powers, how would he react in the real world? And I think we're all looking for somebody or something that's better than we are, that we can emulate and admire and certainly hopefully attain to someday.
His work challenged people not to fear what's different and helped change perceptions in 1960s America.
You just feel like you got to live up to the legacy of Stan Lee.
For comic writers like Jim Zub, it was always Lee's exuberant personality and his comforting presence peering out from the page that made his work special.
It was like your pal talking to you. You would read these books and you would feel like you were being invited into the Marvel Universe. You were part of the club.
Today we honor Stan Lee.
As Lee became the only face of the Marvel world, there was controversy over whether he deserved all the credit. Still, he was revered, with fans searching for his cameo appearance each time his superheroes ruled the box office, and calling for his signature motto.
Excelsior!
To him, meaning onward and upward, the words of a man who changed comics and movies forever. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, it is easy to find places where Stan Lee left his mark. And earlier today, I paid a visit to one such place. It's called Paradise Comics here in Toronto. And I met a few people there who see Lee as his own kind of hero.
I see Stan Lee everywhere in the store.
Yes, definitely. You know what? We got our Stan Lee plushies. We got our, Captain America.
What was it about his work and his creations that you think really struck a chord?
I think everyone could relate. You got guys like Matt Murdock, who's a lawyer, and he's always struggling with different things as well in his own personal life. You got people like, the Thing from the Fantastic Four, who never really fits into the real world, as with the Beast with the X-Men, because he's a bit of a freak. So you see people kind of, or these characters, trying to just figure out how to become one and live a normal life to some extent as well, when they're not saving the world.
You could always felt like you could be Spider-Man. I think that's what it was from, at least maybe not today, but when I was a kid, I definitely thought, yes, I could actually be Spider-Man, yeah. Or even just like Fantastic Four, just there was always this family that came together, and the family got to be superheroes together. That also was just something that resonated with me as a kid, that said we could all one day be superheroes.
It hit me harder than I thought it would. One of our customers described it as a punch in the gut, which is really kind of how it is with me. Now I feel kind of rudderless. Where is the comic industry going to go now? He's like one of the last great ones to pass.
So this is an example of one of the books one of the thousands of books that we've gotten signed by Stan over the years.
Because you've met him.
Yes, we've done a signing at least once a year every year since 2004. One of the good moments is, as I said, Stanley, I think, is his own superhero. We were doing a signing in San Diego with him, and he wasn't feeling well, so we weren't supposed to talk with him because his voice was off, and then he summoned his assistant to go get some cough syrup or something, and stops and he takes a sip and he just goes, "I'm cured." So, you know what? He's a living comic character himself.
And one more thing. Stan Lee tweeted just yesterday to praise the real-life heroes of Veterans Day in the United States. Today, his account posted this final image, Excelsior.
So let's go now to California, where 2 monster fires are burning at both ends of the state tonight, each with its own ferocious appetite, feeding off of hot and high winds. They've already killed at least 31 people, and more than 200 are still missing, most of them in the northern part of the state.
Those remains recovered today were located in Paradise. 5 of them were in homes. 1 was in a vehicle.
The flames seem to chase, almost stalk those trying to flee them.
We're okay. We're okay.
One nurse wasn't so sure she'd get out, called her husband from the car to say she might not make it.
The lights in front of me, on the vehicle in front of me, they were melting. 2 firemen came out of this truck, picked me up and put me into the truck and put a fire blanket over me and said, you're okay, you're okay.
More than 1,000 buildings and homes are ruined.
I was just coming up the street to see my neighbors, and I didn't realize my house gone too.
Then there are the missing. There are a lot, and in the chaos, there's confusion. Family and friends hoping for the best, but not really sure they'll get it.
I've posted on Facebook, texted them, phone calls, asking them to call us back, and still haven't actually heard from them.
More than 100,000 people are under evacuation orders, stuck scanning images on screens to look for hints of the fate of the homes they left behind. Now, that fire in the community of Paradise, named the Camp Fire, is the most destructive in state history, and it's still burning. But another one in Southern California, called the Woolsey Fire, has torn through 370 square kilometers already. The CBC's Kim Brunhuber is in Thousand Oaks, where people are still reeling from that mass shooting last week. And now this.
In the smoking hills of Thousand Oaks, firefighters attack from the summit and from the valley below. At the edge of the hills is a backyard. Everything seems to be pink. Leaves fall like pink snow. And watching it all, Fenella Russell. She, too, is pink. Too close to the water bombers. Dropping fire retardant on the hills that started burning this morning, slowly, inexorably, towards her home.
I turned around and saw some flames erupting on the hillside here behind us, and we called 911 and started hosing things down.
Trying to prevent this, the devastation in the neighboring community of Bell Canyon. You can see here, this home has just simply disappeared, fallen off the cliff, just rubble on a hillside. Down the street, residents held back by police tape are waiting for news. Is there anything left? The worst, they say, is the not knowing.
We've been out here since Friday.
Trying to find out whether your home was okay?
Yes, and we're very eager to get in and see what's going on.
Firefighters were able to make headway on Sunday, But now the dreaded Santa Ana winds that have made this fire so unpredictable, so hard to stop, have whipped up again. Their goal now? Contain.
We don't want those winds to take any little ember and create another fire and pushing a fire outwards.
Fenella Russell grabs a hose. Her backyard is burning again.
Because it's smoldering and anything can just get whipped up again. The wind can change direction on you, fan things back over to you. So
it's a waiting game?
It's a waiting game.
For the community of Thousand Oaks, twice hit by tragedy, serenity is hard to come by. If the winds keep up, if the fire jumps its confines, they know there's little that can be done to stop it. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Thousand Oaks, California.
The 10 largest wildfires in California's history have all been in the past decade, and most scientists believe that as temperatures rise because of climate change, so will the number of intense fires. That's why the California governor sent out this blunt warning.
This is not the new normal, this is the new abnormal. And this new abnormal will continue, certainly in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years.
Hotter, drier weather means brushes and plants go up in flames more easily, spread more quickly, burn more intensely.
Things are not the way they were 10 years ago. The rate of spread is exponentially more than it used to be.
The western U.S. has been about a degree or two warmer than the 20th century average. Now, that might not seem like much, but
the change is that it isn't cooling down at night. The fires, it used to be they'd be hot in the day and then slow down at night. Now they're not slowing down. And so that's really changed the ability to get ahead of it on the suppression at night, which was historically what we've used. And now they're saying it's just burning continually.
The drought that plagued large swaths of California in recent years has essentially turned the state into a tinderbox, turning typical fire seasons from maybe midsummer to early fall to year-round threats.
So our firefighters have been facing some extreme, tough fire conditions that they said that they've never seen in their life.
The cost of fighting these fires is also increasing dramatically. It's more than tripled in the last 5 years to more than $750 million last year alone.
And now to the latest in a bitter fight between the NHL and more than 300 former players. About 3 years ago, those players sued the league over head injuries they suffered on the ice. And today, they reached a tentative deal. The settlement is worth millions, but it comes with some tough conditions. And as Olivia Stefanovic explains, that's not the only problem some have with it.
What about my blistering shot? Here it comes.
One of 318 former players involved in the lawsuit, Dennis Marouk was a top scorer in the 70s and 80s. But at 5'8", he was smaller than most. He says that made him a target, and that asking for help meant risking his job.
How many fingers you got? And if you can say two fingers, if they're showing two and you say two, you can play.
Now 62, he says years of hits to the head have left him with pain, sleep problems, and worse, possible memory loss.
My dad lived to 93, and I hope I can do that too. But I still want to have the time where I can remember my grandkids, my kids.
Today, the league announced a tentative settlement of almost $19 million. Of that, just $7 million would be paid out, or about $22,000 per player. The league also said it won't accept responsibility for the former players' injuries, which is why Marouk won't sign on. How much would be enough in your view?
Another zero.
What's the point of playing professional sports, and it's supposed to be for the memories, you know?
Former Chicago Blackhawk and fellow claimant Daniel Carcillo feels the same. After receiving brain injury treatment for years, he is especially critical that the settlement won't allow diagnoses from independent doctors. Instead, players have to use doctors who work for the league or the Players Association. On Twitter, he urged others not to take the settlement. Still, lawyers say this might be the best they can do.
And fairness is the best we can get when you have a commissioner and a league that has, from the get-go, been unwilling to step forward and take care of players.
For his part, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman didn't comment about this at tonight's Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Toronto.
Tonight, 6 days after the U.S. midterm elections, Arizona's Senate race has finally been decided with the victory for the Democrats. Kirsten Sinema scored a groundbreaking victory against her Republican opponent. She'll not only be the state's first female senator, but she will also be the first openly bisexual senator in U.S. history. The 6-day delay is the result is because more than 600,000 mail-in ballots needed to be counted. In 2 other states, political careers and party fortunes are still on the line. In Georgia, a lawsuit has been filed to delay the final tally for governor, but it is Florida where the results are most contested. Paul Hunter explains why it all may feel familiar.
And so they count all over again, all 8.5 million ballots cast last week in Florida.
Count every vote, legal. Count every vote, legal.
And all weekend long, anger mounted as somehow, yet again, Florida had found itself in an ugly recount mess. Echoing that chaotic 2000 presidential vote in Florida, with a contentious recount that gave the world some great photos, those notorious hanging chads, and eventually the White House to George W. Bush. This time around, the stakes aren't as high, but the emotions sure seem to be, with Republican Senate contender Rick Scott leading incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson by 12,500 votes. Here's how Scott today described his opponent.
Bill Nelson is clearly a sore loser. He can't stand the fact that he's not going to be elected for, the first time in decades.
That race and 2 others, including the governorship, are so close, state law requires a recount. But that didn't stop Donald Trump today from urging Florida to forget about that and simply usher in the Republicans, tweeting without evidence that many ballots are missing or forged. Said a Democratic lawmaker to that, nonsense.
It's grossly irresponsible and completely inaccurate, absolutely untrue.
What we are asking the court to do today is to remove any doubt.
Meanwhile, legal battles mount, with both parties now in Florida courtrooms pushing for advantage while those ballots are tallied, and those who got close but not quite underline
that every lawful vote is counted and counted as the voter intended.
The deadline for the recounts is Thursday. Election officials in Florida insist they'll get it done. Probably. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Another political story we're watching tonight, a startling revelation by Canada's Prime Minister about the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Canada has been fully briefed up on what Turkey had to share.
Are you saying that Canadian agents have heard these recordings?
Yes.
They have heard them?
Yes.
Have you heard them?
I have not.
So Canada's spy chief traveled to Turkey to listen to audio recordings that Turkish officials say are evidence Khashoggi was killed by Saudi operatives. The Saudi journalist disappeared after entering that Saudi consulate in Istanbul early last month. Trudeau is the first Western leader to confirm his security officials have listened to the tape, but CSIS won't go into details about what's on it. Still ahead on The National, new parents, hey, here's something reassuring for a change. A new study on the effect of interrupted sleep on infants. Yes, it's hard on parents, maybe not so bad for baby.
But still hard on parents. Plus, should Calgary host the 2026 Olympics? We go in depth on the pros and the cons before the city has its say at the ballot box tomorrow.
And first snowfalls are always a bit magical, right? Well, take a look at this moment.
It was the purest expression of joy I think I've ever seen in a human being.
The full story from their mom and the woman who sponsored their refugee claim is our moment ahead.
They came in their thousands to this shrine of aviation to witness history replayed and in some cases bag it to take with them.
This is hallowed ground and I consider it sacred. I'm an aviation enthusiast.
No shortage of those on this rain-drenched day, among them movie star John Travolta and President Bush.
And on the day they did fly, just like today,
The conditions were not ideal, but they went ahead anyway.
There's a Canadian-built jet trainer. Overhead, a Canadian contribution, a fly past by 2 snowbirds, here to mark the centennial of the Wright brothers' first flight.
It really hit home that hey, we flew 100 years to the day over the exact same site. It still hasn't totally sunk in, I don't think.
I often wonder if Uncle Orr fully understood the gift, the view he and Uncle Will would give the world from these beautiful sandy dunes on December 17th in 1903.
On that date, 2 brothers from Dayton, Ohio achieved what no one else had, controlled heavier-than-air flight.
Today it seems like such a modest achievement. Beginning from the point of that granite marker, the Wrights spent just 12 seconds in the air, a mere 120 feet to land here. And yet, even that short hop truly was, to coin a later phrase, a giant leap for mankind.
Countdown to Kitty Hawk.
A leap this team of aviators hope to replicate with their wood, cloth, and wire reproduction of the Wrights flying machine.
There she goes!
After a 2-hour wait, the rains finally subsided, and the replica flyer trundled down its runway, tantalizingly close to taking off before splashing into a mud puddle. Disappointing the pilot, but not the crowd.
Well, pretty much every new parent at some time or another asks the question, when will my baby sleep through the night? The constant wake-ups can be exhausting for everyone, right? I've got 2 little girls, trust me, I know, but a new study suggests the interrupted sleep may not actually be so bad for the baby and how he or she develops. Christine Burak explains why.
Oscar's bedtime is pretty routine.
They brush and brush and brush their teeth.
A quick read, and it's lights out for this 9-month-old. For many new parents, a full night's sleep is the dream. But a peek inside shows Oscar has other plans. For months, this was his parents' world. He was waking up every hour or 2 throughout the night.
Just as being an adult, I know that if I don't sleep very well, I definitely don't function as well as I do when I sleep, so how could that not affect a developing brain?
A new study suggests it doesn't. Canadian researchers followed about 400 moms and their babies for at least 3 years. They found at 6 months old, about a third of babies weren't sleeping 6 straight hours a night. At 12 months, about half were not sleeping 8 consecutive hours a night. Researchers then tested each child's cognitive, language, and motor development.
We were not able to find any negative outcomes related to sleeping or not through the night.
Either way, you're not messing up your kid.
Pediatricians often recommend infants be trained by about 6 months old to sleep through the night. But this doctor insists it's just guidance, not a rule.
And parents here, if you don't sleep train your baby, you're going to be a bad mother. If you don't sleep train your baby, you're going to screw up your kids. And I don't know if we appreciate as much as we should the way our messaging is interpreted by parents.
If social media is any indication, they're desperate, and not just for the baby's sake. But teaching your infant how to fall asleep and stay asleep can be controversial.
I just wasn't comfortable with like a true cry it out.
Oscar's mom ended up hiring a sleep trainer, and a little crying worked.
This is a great study to alleviate some of that concern and anxiousness that they're not doing right by their children or they're bad parents, that their children aren't sleeping.
Moms need their sleep too. Researchers said it didn't necessarily put them in a bad mood if their sleep was broken up, as long as they somehow got 6 to 8 hours. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
Good job.
Still ahead on the national to host or not to host. Calgary votes tomorrow on the bid for the 2026 Olympics. Ian goes in depth on the debate next.
Plus 52 people, 4 suspects 5 decades later. We begin a joint investigation between CBC Podcasts and The National, looking at one of the largest unsolved mass murders on Canadian soil.
It's an accident. There's nothing you can do about it. You kind of go, that's so horrible, but it's an accident, and accidents happen. But not being able to know who did it means you have no no place to even focus your anger.
Hey, I'm Natalia Ndongo for CBC Montreal, and today we're behind the scenes with Quebec singer-songwriter Matt Halabowski, leading up to his first ever Osheaga performance. It all started, though, at 9:30 this morning at the band's rehearsal space to load up the truck.
Captain Ambrosia.
Yeah, you guys are coming on one side, I'm coming on another side, but we'll find each other.
Awesome.
And we'll be with each other all day.
Sounds good.
All right, see you soon.
See you there.
Bye.
Bye.
So we're headed to the VIP area right now to go meet Matt, and this is the beauty and challenge of being at Osheaga. We're following Matt Halabowski, but we can't go everywhere he can go. You've been doing all these performances in different contexts, in different cities, different countries, and then you come home and you're going to do like pretty much the biggest weekend, one of the biggest
No
weekends
pressure.
of the summer.
You know, there's a mixture of things. I was a little stressed out this week because I have a lot of friends coming to this. You know, most of my friends are from Montreal, and so you have a lot of people who have been sort of following the trajectory since, you know, playing in bonfires and just like kind of hanging out at house parties, sort of randomly jamming and up to here. So there's definitely that kind of pressure when you have your friends and family and stuff that come check it out, and you have all the big media and all that stuff. But that being said, it's just a show like any other. I mean, like the stage is huge, but it's a 2 p.m. thing, you know, like there's not going to be 50,000 people, you know, so it's like the pressure is a little different.
So we've been hanging out with Matt all day, and one thing he doesn't know, he's about to get a really special award. He's going to get a gold certificate from Audiogram, the label he signed to. And what does that mean? It means that he's hit 40,000 units of sale in Quebec for his record Solitudes, and it's going to be really cool. So we're waiting for him to come and actually learn that people love him and that he got this award. Gold, that's a big deal.
You knew about this, huh? Hey, how you doing?
Gold record.
Face, I'm sorry.
Big deal. I don't care.
The Halifax Comedy Festival, new season, Wednesday at 9:30.
Tomorrow, Calgarians will get to vote on whether they want the city to host the 2026 Winter Olympics. In fact, a lot of people have already voted in the advanced polls, which may be an indication of just how much interest there is in this issue.
We feel we have an opportunity to leave a legacy.
I just don't believe in what it represents anymore, and I also don't want the tax burden.
Lots of people in the city remember when Calgary hosted the 88 Games, widely considered a huge success. But the Olympics require money, a lot of money. and the federal government has committed $1.4 billion. The province of Alberta, $700 million. And Calgary's commitment would include $370 million in cash. So is it worth it?
I'm excited to say yes. I'm a firm no.
We're joined by David Finch, a marketing professor at Mount Royal University in Calgary, Aaron Wade, a No Calgary organizer, and Arthur Griffith, who is a chair of the Vancouver Whistler Bid Committee. So we wanted all three of you because you have interesting things to say, but because it's an odd number, that means we have two on one side, in this case, yes, one on the no side. So Aaron, let me begin with you. Why do you suggest Calgarians should vote no?
Well, we think this is the wrong project for Calgary at this time. You know, we're fans of the Olympics and love to cheer on our Canadian athletes, but this isn't the right project for Calgary now.
So Arthur, years ago here in Vancouver, you supported the bid that ultimately was successful, and why do you think Calgarians should support their bid?
Well, twofold. One is Calgary is a city today that really needs to rejuvenate its economy and maybe find diverse ways besides the oil sector. And I think this provides us and Calgary with a unique opportunity to host the world and showcase and diversify the economy.
And David, as I understand it, you were either undecided or maybe even a little skeptical about this and eventually decided that you would support the bid. Why?
It's really a question of a business case on my side, Ian. When I look at the risk versus the reward, the risks are quite manageable because of the legacy of 1988 and the infrastructure in place. The fact that 87% of our infrastructure is currently going to be used in 2026 mitigates enormous risk on the capital side and the demand side, which is critical. Will people use the facilities that are built? And we have 30 years of data that says Calgarians and the public will use the sliding track, the Oval, Windsport, Nakiska, and the other facilities for their family uses.
Okay, so let's talk about risks for a moment. We have seen some terrible examples around the world of Olympics going well over budget. What about for Calgary, Aaron? Do you feel confident that, you know, we have the numbers in front of us, that those are going to be the true numbers once the Olympics have come and gone?
Well, we know that Dick Pound, the IOC member, said that that bid books are the greatest fiction ever written. And that's because the costs tend to be understated and simply grow from there. For Calgary, one big example is security cost, and that was arbitrarily reduced to just over $400 million when the last number of Olympics, including Vancouver, the costs were between $1 and $2 billion. So that's a real worry. I have a second worry about the fact that most of the venues will be updated rather than new builds. And I don't know about anybody who's done home renovations, but you can still have cost overruns with renovations and upgrades, just like you can with a new build.
Now, Arthur, you come to this from a couple of perspectives. First of all, you know what the promises were here in Vancouver, and you know what ended up happening. But also, as the former owner of the Vancouver Canucks and the Grizzlies, you were instrumental in building what is now Rogers Arena here in Vancouver. So how do you feel about proposed costs as opposed to actual costs?
Well, don't forget, when you're putting a bid book together, you're a minimum 7 years out from the actual games. So the numbers you put forward need to be modified, I suppose, or whatever you want to call it. At least the dollars that are actually spent won't be spent for another 7 to 8 years after your bid book has been submitted. So you have to consider that. The point about the security, I think, is a very valid point. Unfortunately, those costs aren't really easily identifiable because, frankly, the world changes every single day. And to the extent that you can't afford to put on a hosting of the world, and I'll call it underspend, if you want to call it that. I think the other thing is that it's not really a 17-day experience. The legacies for these, as we know in Calgary, Vancouver, and many other cities, are for decades, including the sports venues, but other infrastructure that we spent.
So that's the cost side and the potential for cost overruns, particularly when it comes to security. Let's talk about the benefit side. And I want to play a clip from Larry Campbell, who was then mayor in the early 2000s here in Vancouver, and here's what he said about that.
I'm quite confident that we'll be on time and on budget, and I'm actually quite confident that there'll be money made on these games.
So Arthur, here's the thing. Larry Campbell back then said he's confident the money would be made. I've looked in lots of places, and maybe you've been more successful than me, but I have not found a full accounting of what the true costs and true benefits were of the games here in 2010 to try to figure out if those kinds of promises turned out to be true.
Well, I think, Ian, it was a little bit like what is in an Olympic cost and what is not. I would have to say that that's been the #1 challenge that Olympic Games face. We have a road to Whistler that was desperately needed enhanced. That was an Olympic cost. We had a SkyTrain that was built to the airport, an Olympic cost. And of course the convention center downtown, again, another Olympic cost. Those things are, I believe, legacies, but also outside of the games for the most part. So to the extent that they're lumped in, it is difficult to come up with a number that's, I would say, profitable or not profitable for an Olympic Games. But those are here for the city and for the province, and indeed the industries that are now growing as a result.
Now, David, you're a business professor, and so what about the accounting here? How confident are you that the true costs and the true economic benefits will be calculated in Calgary?
Yeah, I think there's two ways we need to look at that. The first one is, again, looking at the operating costs. Now, the operating costs for every Olympics since the year 2000 has driven a surplus. So we believe we're in a very positive position in regards to the potential risk on the operations side. In regards to the security, the RCMP and the different factions of the federal government have been working on that. That is their plan they've been working on for over 2 years. So obviously security, as Arthur would know, is very much a federal responsibility. I like to look at and refer to the 1988 games. It's a really interesting case study in regards to the risk and rewards of an Olympic Games. Calgary. So when you look at in 1981, when the city of Calgary, when Frank King, Peter Lougheed, and Ralph Klein were in Germany pitching Calgary hosting the games, look at their budget. Their budget was incredibly ambitious. Its budget was roughly 10 times larger from a capital expenditure and operations cost than the Sarajevo budget. It assumed 15 times greater revenue than the Lake Placid Games. And when you look at the end result, it sold as many tickets as the previous 3 Olympic Games combined. It took visionaries like Frank King, like Peter Lougheed and Ralph Klein to really put Calgary on the map. They absorbed the risk. The benefit we have in 2018 for 2026 is we're truly building on the shoulder of those giants and all Calgarians who built those games, because we get to renew their infrastructure at minimal risk.
You know, there's just nothing about today that is like 1988, and there were all kinds of specific reasons that was a successful games, and I don't have any objection to what was said about how great 1988 was. But we're in a different time. This games project, this hosting project's been taken on in a very different way. It is not citizen driven. It has a very different structure with the IOC. We are not receiving the broadcast revenues directly like they did in '88. That saved them in terms of their budgeting and how the costing turned out. And then Calgary can't hope to, I don't think we have as much optimism for an oil price bump immediately following the Olympics like they got in '89 and '90, where it increased 50% and then another 30% after that. That covered a lot of ills, and I think we're past that in Calgary, where we can count on an oil price bump to cover up any problems. So we're in a different place. We need a very different project today than we did in 1988.
There is, we talk dollars and cents, there is the emotion of the Olympics, and anyone who was here in Vancouver in 2010 thought that it was 2 magical weeks.
I've been to 6 Olympic Games myself. I have to say, whatever experience I had in whatever capacity I had in those Olympic Games, those are memories I will cherish personally for life. And I think Vancouverites, visitors to Vancouver, refer to it as a big party. And of course, we put our best foot forward on the podium, but I think it did our country, our city, and most importantly, our economy well. leading up to, during, and after the Olympic Games, the money that has been spent and generated in this economy as a direct result of hosting those games really changed our current state then and our future. So I believe that's the biggest legacy.
The Olympic Games are not an end unto itself. It's about building a greater Calgary. What role can the Olympics play in delivering the Calgary of the future? From my perspective, from a business planning perspective, the ability to build the awareness of the city on a global scale, the equivalent of 31 Super Bowls from a media awareness perspective, is unprecedented. The return, the ability to actually sell the benefits and features of our city to the world over a 2-week period and then maintain the benefits for a generation, the business case is priceless.
Outnumbered 2-1, yes to no, but Erin, I will give you the last word, 30 seconds.
I just think Calgary can do better. You know, we have other priorities. We have 27% office vacancy rate down in our downtown, and the Olympics isn't going to touch that. I say let's cheer on our athletes on the world stage somewhere else, but let's say no to hosting the Olympics.
Well, Calgarians get to vote on this tomorrow, but people right across the country have a stake, obviously, both in terms of tax dollars and also as people who are fans of the Olympics. And I really appreciate the input from all three of you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Still ahead on The National, our moment, the full story behind this now viral video. Two little newcomers to Canada and their mom. What a day they've had. Just ahead.
North American audiences, I guess, know you best of all for playing villains in Die Hard and in Robin Hood. Now, obviously, that's not all you do, as we're beginning to find out. Do you like playing villains? Did you enjoy those roles?
Sure. It's fun. You know, you get let off the leash and you run around like a mad dog for a couple of times in your whole career. And because they are very successful movies, they get a lot of publicity. That's the beginning and ending of it, but it isn't the beginning and ending of what I want to do, as I hope people see if they go see Truly, Madly, Deeply.
You don't intend to keep playing these hyperbolic Hollywood villains?
Probably not, but you know, I suppose never say never. It's just that I'm not sure that there's anywhere else to go after the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, we must be strong. We can't allow an outlaw to make fools of us. And I can't allow a lieutenant to fail me. Well, at least I didn't use a spoon.
You seem to bring a touch of villainy into almost everything you do, this subversive quality, this droll, dry sense of humor. In Truly, Madly, Deeply, for example, you're a very sympathetic, romantic character, but you're also kind of obnoxious.
Well, he's meant to be. I mean, so I like the word subversive. I think that's fine. That doesn't necessarily mean villainous, but subversive's all right. I love you.
I really love you.
I really, truly love you.
I really, truly, madly love you.
Really, truly, madly, deeply love you.
I really, truly, madly, deeply, passionately love you.
Really, truly, madly, deeply, passionately, remarkably love you.
I really, truly, madly, deeply, passionately, remarkably, deliciously love you.
Really, truly, madly, passionately, remarkably, deliciously, juicily love you.
Deeply. Deeply! You passed on deeply, which was your word, which means that you couldn't have meant it. So you're a fraud, actually.
It's a very generous thing he does, which is to come back and say, now move on, you know.
In acting, there seems to be this spectrum with noble theater, Shakespeare on the one end, and Hollywood properties on the other. And you seem to be quite at home in all parts of it. Do you have any particular affections, loyalties, priorities in all of this?
It's shifting sands. I've just finished doing a play in the West End which is the first time I've been on stage for 4 years. And it's very much, I discovered, like finding yourself back in a gym, trying to get fit again. But that's only in the sense that you're using very different muscles, not because I think one is more difficult than the other. I actually think film is not any kind of soft option at all. I really enjoy it, and I think it's very difficult to get right. But you use different muscles.
We often hear that American and British actors have a very different approach to acting, that American actors like to steep themselves in their roles, remain in character off camera, whereas the British actors have a more cavalier approach. They can slip in and out of character very easily. Where do you fit into all of that?
I once opened a copy of Stanislavski, and I read half a page and closed it quickly.
Sunday night is family night on CBC.
I need some time away from here.
At 6, saddle up with an encore episode of Heartland.
You can't expect Georgie to choose between show jumping and her mom.
You stick to worrying about your daughter, and I'll worry about mine.
Followed by the new season of Anne with an E.
Love thwarted by tragedy.
From our family to yours, Heartland and Anne with an E. Beginning Sundays at 6 on CBC.
It is one of the largest unsolved mass murders in Canada, and chances are you've never heard of it. Someone put a bomb on Canadian Pacific Flight 21, killing all 52 people on board. It happened in 1965, but there are still family members of victims who want answers. So the National and CBC Podcasts have teamed up to do our own investigation. Here's a look.
OSP, what is your destination?
CB21, Vancouver, do you read?
CBA21, CBA3, do you read? CBA21, do you read?
Here is the CBC National News. A Canadian Pacific airliner has crashed in rugged country in the Caribou district of British Columbia.
The wilderness made it difficult not only for rescue parties to reach the scene, but for news to come out.
This is where CP-21 plummeted to the ground.
There has been much speculation on what caused the crash. A man on the range at the time says the plane appeared to blow up in the air.
A criminal act committed by someone on board. And after 53 years, still no answers to two agonizing questions. Who did it and why?
You will know when you see it. It's spread out, so you would come across different pieces. Basically, it's all through here.
Dee Dee Henderson was 5 years old when her father was killed. She still feels the pain of that loss.
After 53 years, the ground is still so burnt. Nothing is growing here, and probably never will.
You know, people talk about twisted wreckage. Well, this is it. This is what it looks like.
And this is just one of many pieces.
Deep in the woods of the BC interior, pieces of the plane still mark the place 52 people were killed. Somebody did this.
Yeah.
How does that change things?
Well, I mean, if it's an accident, there's nothing you can do about it. You kind of go, that's so horrible, but it's an accident, and accidents happen. But not being able to know who did it means you have no place to even focus your anger.
So here we are, 5 decades later, setting out to see if we can shed new light on a case long closed. The weights, the load.
We don't normally give it out unless it's asked for.
Blast marks confirm explosion. 3 months. So you want this solved?
Oh, absolutely. I think Mom does too.
Dozens of interviews.
I remember this day distinctly.
What occurred or what they saw.
Thousands of documents, many released for the first time, including reports from Transport Canada.
I mean, the new documents were even more definitive about the fact that the bomb...
And the RCMP's original investigation as they narrowed in on 4 suspects. A gambler who purchased life insurance moments before boarding. An individual described by a psychiatrist as having a deep madness toward the world. An explosives expert with a criminal record. And a young man described as a loner who may have been carrying gunpowder. What the documents don't say is which one police think planted the bomb. We took the evidence to 3 experts in 3 different fields. Larry Vance, a crash investigator.
Oh, I think it's absolute. I don't think there's any doubt that this was an explosion that brought that airplane down.
So let's take a look at the film that CBC took the day after. You can take a look at this. Not survivable?
Not survivable, no. Well, the pilots were trying their very best right till from the time that the tail came off at 16,000 feet, they were trying their level best all the way until they hit the ground.
Bill Smith, an explosives expert.
So we'll put 11 ounces of powder inside of the pail.
He helped us review the RCMP's forensics into the bomb.
They're saying there's a black powder residue, but it looks like a dynamite may have been used. You know, the question pops up, why are we using these 2 products together? It's a mystery for sure.
5-second warning.
The answer could help us figure out who made the bomb.
3, 2, 1. Holy, that's a lot of kick.
Finally, Mike Arntfield, criminologist, former police officer.
He insists on taking this Canadian Pacific Airlines flight by himself.
He now teaches at Western University in London, Ontario.
This is probably one of the more remarkable cold cases in Canadian history. It is so unusual, and yet there is little to nothing that's been written on it, and very few people know about it, and yet it is so compelling, and as a case that lends itself to modern cold case methodologies, is a real watershed case.
Mike will also use a computer algorithm to compare the bombing of CP-21 to similar crimes. During the next 4 weeks, our team at the National and CBC Podcasts will be revealing what we've found. Back in 1965, following up on new leads.
I asked him point blank, I said, do you know who did it? And he said, we have a very good idea.
And hearing more from those who lived with the stigma.
They want someone to blame. And if a dead guy is an easy target.
All of this to shed new light on a Canadian crime story that many of us have never heard of. A decades-old mass murder that some family members hope will someday be solved. And Andrew, as you can see, this was a fascinating story to work on.
Yeah, and Ian, I guess this is a first, right, for us here at the National, in the sense that this is not just an investigation on television or in a podcast, but it's both.
And it's the perfect story for that. There are so many people that we spoke to, so we'll get a chance in the podcast to hear their stories in detail, and maybe over the next 4 weeks, the people who are listening to the podcast, at least some of them will come forward, share their stories, and perhaps some more evidence on what happened on CP-21.
Right, so honestly, can't wait, and we will get the full investigation here on the National as the podcast wraps up, right?
So the first 2 episodes are out now, and you can subscribe to Uncover, Bomb on Board, wherever you normally get your podcast, or go to cbc.ca/uncover.
Okay, next on the National, our moment with 2 Eritrean kids, brand new to Canada, seeing snow for the very first time.
Ran out there and just opened up their arms and their faces to the sky and started twirling and eating the snow. Pretty universal reaction from these kids.
The story behind the now viral video. Next.
Nearly 1,000 people died last year from overdoses in BC. That's a huge spike in numbers from previous years. Many of those deaths have been linked to fentanyl, a game-changing opioid that's 100 times more powerful than heroin. But how is this powerful drug reaching users? According to border officials, China is the main source of fentanyl coming into Canada. Canada's economic and social ties with China create ample opportunities for small packages to get smuggled into the country through shipping routes or via the thousands of visitors to BC each year. A simple search of buy fentanyl online produces numerous sellers, including one foreign pharmacy that promises 100% anonymity and privacy. The suppliers often place the drugs in decoy packaging, promising undetectable parcels packed carefully with tungsten and carbon papers that can easily pass through customs X-ray machines and onto planes bound for Vancouver. Sometimes fentanyl has been found hidden in shipments in Vancouver's air cargo operations. But the majority of fentanyl seizures in British Columbia happen at the Vancouver International Mail Centre. Border officials can only open mail that weighs more than 30 grams and need the importer's permission to open smaller packages. Once fentanyl is in Canada, it's trafficked by drug cartels and gangs, and also by loan operators into the black market. Since most of the fentanyl coming into the country is in powder form, it's pressed into pills here. As for where the demand for fentanyl is coming from, the users are pretty diverse. Fentanyl is cheap to make, so distributors have been lacing drugs with it to give their users an extra kick. The drug affects not only people dependent on prescription opioids, but also severely addicted illicit drug users and recreational users who aren't aware that it's been cut into their drugs. That's why it's claimed the lives of people in the downtown east side and also teenagers from affluent neighborhoods. So what is being done to choke the supply and demand chain? While China and Canada have agreed to coordinate policing efforts to crack down on illicit fentanyl and other opioids, we just don't know what that will look like yet. And some provinces are taking action to ban or regulate pill presses, while police are also working on developing new techniques to help them detect the drugs. A bill is also sitting in Parliament that, if passed, would allow border officials to open packages they find suspicious that weigh less than 30 grams. Still, almost everybody working on the issue agrees we're not going to solve this problem by arresting our way out of it or more drug seizures at the border. What's needed is a more coordinated approach from all levels of government, better education, and better treatment programs.
Discover homegrown films.
Adam, look at me. I need the truth. You tell it exactly like it happened.
Extraordinary stories.
Why did you go out there today?
Because it scared me.
Incredible performances.
You wait! What? You want to disown me too? Fine, go ahead. You know what? I don't care anymore.
New films added every week, only on the CBC TV app.
Look who's back in the house!
Well, don't those faces say it all? Just 48 hours after arriving in Canada, these little newcomers experienced snow for the first time ever. That moment was then shared on social media, as you do, and it caught the attention of some 2 million people, including the Prime Minister. Today, he also tweeted his thanks and welcomed them to Canada. So we asked the newcomers and the family sponsoring them about that first Canadian moment. That moment is our moment.
They heaved open the patio door, ran out there and just started twirling and singing and dancing and catching it and sweeping it off each other, and as every kid does, started to eat it.
It's a beautiful feeling about the snow. I didn't thought that I will see this snow before, and I only saw it on the TV.
We've had to lock the ice lock on my fridge. They're so enchanted with cold and ice.
She hopes that every day snow comes so they can be like this.
If it's something as universal and a lovely little vignette of kids dancing in the snow that softens some people's hearts or changes some people's attitudes, then I'm very, very glad I threw up that tweet.
Okay, so the novelty clearly has not worn off. May it never wear off. But Andrew,
Just wait until they start shoveling.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll wear off
to
pretty
learn
quick.
how to do that. So this family came from Eritrea. They've been staying in a refugee camp in Sudan since 2013. There are 4 of them. They've only been here for a couple of days. Everything is gorgeous now.
I laughed when she said that, of course, the kids ate the snow, because that, I mean, aside from tobogganing and ice skating, that is maybe the quintessential Canadian activity when the snow starts falling. Nothing beats it.
Lots of people were warning on Twitter, don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah, good advice.
Always
yeah.
good advice.
Yeah, but again, shoveling soon. Start them early. That's my advice. That's the national for this November 12th. Have a good night.
Good night.